Okay. Okay, I got most of that. He didn't answer me. That was somebody else entirely. He said, AC S, he's acknowledging S means and, thanks for QSO, which means the contact. HP means hope, see you again on 30 CW, that's a different band. 73 AR, that means I'm done with this transmission. And then SK means I'm done, I'm not going to say any more. And then he says shaving a haircut, and the other guy says 2 bits. It's like, it's very much like text messaging where you have all established and agreed on abbreviations to save time. We are required to be able to learn to make do with what we've got. He was talking to KA, I can't tell whether it was a 4 or a 5, KKE, which would be either somewhere in the southern seaboard, or the 5 area is the southern Midwest. This was the internet for a very long time.
Well, they used to have a beautiful big hotel right there where that stop sign is. That was a nice part, and I came down here when Helen Hayes came. I was in school and they brought the class down, so I got to see who she was. They took that down because, you see, the road business. Everybody having automobiles and everything, it takes away the closeness where we didn't go very far away. In fact, when we used to visit my great uncle and aunt up in Denver for treats, Uncle Aaron would go downstairs and bring up a pan of apples and pass out knives. Of course, I didn't get one because I was small. I know I never had a knife, remember? But that was our treat. Mm-hmm.
Well, I hated gardening when I was a kid because my dad was an ornamental gardener. And I was kind of forced into mowing lawns and edging things, and he had this formal garden in the background that was laid out in a geometrically accurate ellipse. And then much later, we planted a extremely large kitchen garden. And we discovered that by very low capital investment and a whole lot of intensely physical work, we could feed ourselves. Not just us. We could take it by the pickup truck load down to Loaves and Fishes. Because we didn't know what to do with all this stuff. It was just going to rot on the back porch.
Oh, and Catherine and I had to pick peas by the bushel. Didn't like that at all. But now I realize, it was our food. Farmers made out better during the Depression than people did in the city. Some of them lost their homes. I've had friends talk about how they didn't have too much to eat. But if you were on a farm, you stood a better chance. But we had a lot of soup. But see, we were happy in what we were doing. We would ski, ride downhill, and play games. We never had bicycles. I would have loved a bicycle. But I don't think I missed that because I didn't know about it. And we were happy in our home and with our parents. And we would play games and do things. We used to play croquet with sticks and apples, little apples off the tree.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Before we had a croquet set. Mm-hmm. One day, a long time after that, we had a croquet set. Then it was a lot of fun.
I do want to say that I am playing a fiddle built by my own hand from scratch. The back, neck, and sides are from a sycamore tree from the valley of 6 Mile Creek, where we currently are. The top of this fiddle came from an egg crate found in an egg barn in Maine. And this is a tune that I'm afraid I have to learn. It's called O'Carolan's Farewell to Music. When he knew that his body was no longer going to be able to do it. This was one of his last tunes. It was written down by his son. Let's see here.
Well, when my father had my sister take piano lessons and me take violin lessons, there were 50 cents for a lesson, which was enough in those days. I had to go to Margaretville. And after we got so we could play, and then we would go visit my uncles and aunts and people. He would say, take your instruments with you. My sister had an accordion, and I had the violin, and we didn't like to have to take our instruments. But I can see now why he did that and what a pleasure it was for my uncle, my great uncle and aunt, to take our instruments and play some songs. Yeah. Yeah, music can be a great blessing. It really can.
About 1970 when I first built one.
Wow.
It was 119 strings. I played it for about 6 years, and I had a redesign on the same basic thing, a lot prettier. The second one was 126 strings, not very much bigger, but a lot better. And I worked on that with that for about 12 years, and then by then I had this one accomplished. This is 180 strings.
Wow.
And it's almost the full range of the piano, about 7 1/3 octaves. My sister, older than I, Pat, started piano at the age of 3, and I was born right about that time. They'd set me on the foot of the piano, and they'd have the bottom board out, and I'd get down there.
I used to play with the strings.
Yeah, I was checking with the strings, you know. My mother used to get really kicked off. She said, "Go knock it out of tune."
That's great. So you're like really just not can't even
I
walk
loved
yet.
it, man.
Can't
I
even walk
just
yet.
plucked it, especially the big bass notes, you know. I really like them. That's cool.
There was another time when, in Morse code, when the Black Students Alliance took over Willard Straight Hall at Cornell University, and I was on talking Morse code, and I got into an argument with an Air Force colonel stationed in Turkey in Morse code. And his take on this thing is, of course, you know, you should send the tanks in there. And my take on it was, wait a second. If you had been, for 4 generations, forced to put up with the bullshit that they had been forced to put up with all this time, wouldn't you be a little pissed off? Wouldn't you be willing to pick up a weapon? And I discovered that night, for the first time, how you obscenely swear in Morse code. Because this Air Force colonel and I had very, very different points of view about how to handle this situation. And to hear that on the radio is something that was a very memorable thing.